Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 12 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. Have you ever felt, and you may feel this even right now, this feeling that you're just going through the motions in life and you're not sure of what you want? You feel that your sense of desire is diminishing and you just want to figure out a way to spark yourself again, to feel more grounded, connected, and inspired. If so, well, today is the day that we're going to dive into the 3 ways to spark a sense of reconnection with yourself. So what causes the sense of disconnection? And most people think of me as pretty high energy and full of positivity. And most of the time that would be an accurate perspective. But everyone, including myself, including yourself, goes through periods where they feel disconnected, lost, and overwhelmed. And when I began to fill my plate with personal development work, motherhood, being a wife, employee, entrepreneur, and all the hats, all the many hats we can wear on an everyday basis, I started to witness more moments of disconnection. And at first, it would start with burnout, a sense of tiredness or feeling overwhelmed. But then it would spiral into anger, resentment, and then blame. And then the next step was a sense of just withdrawal and distrust in the world. And this is where the disconnection comes into play. When you start withdrawing from life and seeing yourself not as an active participant, but just someone who is going through the motions, this is that disconnection that I'm speaking of. You feel like you have to force yourself to be actively engaged in work, at home, or even with your friends and family. And these 3 things that I just spoke of, overwhelm, resentment, and disconnection, they can all happen in a split second, whether they're triggered or activated from a specific event or not. But they can last for a minute, weeks, months, or even years. And for many years, I didn't even know that these feelings don't have to be the norm. Overriding my feelings, my intuition, and my yearnings for more in life became acceptable because outwardly, I had so many of the markers, quote unquote markers, of success. But who decided that these were the success markers? And if these really were markers for success, why was my health suffering both mentally and physically? And I unwound all these tendencies to overwork, to overachieve, and compete. I saw them for what they were. Ways for me to actually avoid feelings of failure, of inadequacy, and unworthiness. So you're probably thinking, what, me? Unworthy? How could that happen? But I had all these achievements. Why would someone like me ever feel unworthy? Well, it's because I had focused on external validation. And I bet if you're feeling this sense of overwhelm or this sense of unworthiness as well, you probably have too. And if you haven't, you can go back and listen to the podcast episode on codependency again. If you want to learn more about these people-pleasing behaviors that drive many an overachiever, including myself, to do things that may not be in your best interest, but is the best interest for everyone else. So external validation is something that most of us understand, but we don't actually know. It's like your third cousin. We know their name and maybe they have a family. We might even know where they live, but we don't really know what they do, and we definitely don't think they have an impact on our lives. But like that third cousin, there's this link that runs through you below the surface. And if I asked you, really, really asked you, how much you do because you think about what other people would say, do, or react, you'd likely realize how much this relationship with external validation is closer than you think. So what does this have to do with disconnection? So disconnection comes when we're out of alignment with our internal selves. We're incongruent to our values, our inner compass, our true guide, and you're not sure that what you're doing matters to your purpose or your mission. And really, you likely don't even know what your purpose or mission even is. What you do know, however, is the rules of society, what's acceptable or not. And you've conditioned yourself to play by those rules very, very, very well. And this is why you're so successful, even when you feel so disconnected. This is where the internal crisis comes into play. This is when you reach that place where you start to connect the dots and say, wait a minute, there's something missing here. And this is when you start to say that I need to come back to myself. And that's the first process. So understanding what you value is that first step. When you come back to yourself, it starts first with seeing that you need to focus on yourself. If you're a people pleaser, you're likely focused so much on others that you've lost the sense of who you are. And when I say who you are, I don't mean the relationships you have or the jobs you have. Many of us, when we describe ourselves, talk about ourselves as, oh, I am someone that's a wife or a mother or a husband or a dad. I work at this company. This is what I do. But what I'm asking is, who are you? What do you care about? What thrills you? What fills your cup? And what do you want your legacy to be? Aligning yourself with your values has to be important enough that you decide to invest as much time, energy, and resources into yourself as you do to your relationships or your work. And how much time are you spending asking yourself these questions about who you are and what you want? Not from necessarily just the external world, but from your internal world. How much time do you spend aligning yourself to your mission and your purpose each day? And for many of us, this is little to no time. And that's okay. You can start now, and trust me, you can watch your life change as soon as you begin. So let's make it real. So once you've understood this internal compass, your internal markers of success, and you're well on your way down this path to inner greatness, you're going to start to feel the initial high wear off. The feelings of, I found myself and I've discovered who I am, are running through your head. And we're thinking, okay, here we go. Nothing's going to stop me. But then something does. You're wondering now, what? You mean it's not all rainbows or unicorns now? Of course not. Life's tough. So we have to be tougher. And even in your dream job or your dream relationship, you're still going to struggle. You're still going to receive more demands than you can handle, and you're going to face setbacks. What I realized was this. If I were to live a full life, I'd have to learn how to handle this roller coaster up and down of emotions, no matter what my circumstances were. And instead of letting myself fall into this place where life's demands were constantly greater than my ability to handle them, I developed the tools and practices that would allow me to come back from these setbacks, come back from the overwhelm time and again. And I realized that no matter what I do to change my external world. Hey, have a different boss. Hey, have a different situation at school. Hey, have a different family situation. No amount of changing all of that external world would actually change the internal world. And you can run from one job or career to the next and still not feel connected. You can take an amazing trip that rejuvenates you and you come home to a life that you're not in love with. And you can take a class and meet the perfect partner or get the promotion or hit that revenue goal. And after that high, you will still and may still feel at a loss in your day-to-day. And so can you see now why this work is so important? This is why things have not changed, even though so much has changed. So to develop the resources within yourself is critical. It's critical for you to continuously face overwhelm, challenges, and setbacks with a sense of grace. And this is how you become a leader in your personal and professional life. This is how you lead from the mind, the body, and heart. So what can you do? If you're feeling disconnected with or without even that sense of purpose that I was talking about earlier, you're going to have to get outside of yourself. Disconnect comes from a feeling of too muchness. I don't think that's a real word, but I'm defining it now as a real word. So get outside yourself. That's step number one. Get outside of yourself. And what we're feeling is this too much of emotions, energy, excitement, all the things. So we pull ourselves out mentally. It's a safety mechanism to protect ourselves from harm, and it's also a warning sign that something needs to be done. And this is when we need to seek an outside perspective. We need to ask for help, whether it's from others who have walked this path before you or us, or those whose advice and counsel that we trust. And we need to ask the universe, the spiritual sense of something bigger, greater, and purposeful, how we can see the grace in our situation. And we need to anchor ourselves back to the bigger picture. We need to ground ourselves as much as possible in objectivity and a super conscious long-term perspective. When we see this disconnect as purposeful in terms of a greater vision in our lives, we can then connect the dots to what's missing and then start to address it. When we start to see this disconnect from a super conscious view and we see, hey, this is really an outlier instead of a pattern, we can get curious. And above all, when we can witness this current and temporary state of being without judgment, we can allow ourselves to feel all the emotions and connect to what is at the root of the issue. So step one, get outside of yourself. Step two is to move our bodies. Most often we can rewind the tapes in our head and we see that what started all of this was an unmet expectation, a sense of overwhelm from too much work, too many decisions, or emotional energy such as anger, shame, or frustration that hasn't yet been discharged, released from not only our minds, but from our bodies. Many of all of the things that I'm talking about here, these are internal reactions to an outside external circumstance. So these internal reactions hold energy, and they're often stored in our bodies as neck, shoulder, or back tension, tension in our jaws, or tension headaches. And this is when we need to get in our bodies. We need to make sure that we're moving, that we're unwinding, that we're stretching, that we're breathing deeply. And practices such as mindfulness come into play here. You can think of mindful movement, which allows you to move your body and feel what's stuck and where we're holding the tension. You can think of mindful eating, which allows us not to buffer our disconnect by eating frantically or not eating at all. And getting outside in nature as you move your body can allow you to breathe into that sense that there is energy all around us and we don't have to hold it all inside and that we can let it out. The third step is to take action on the misalignment. So you need to take that action from a place of choice. I'm choosing to, not this is the only thing I've got left. Your power is in your choice. And if you're feeling disconnected, there's usually something you want to do, but you aren't doing. You want to have a difficult conversation, but you are putting it off because it's hard. You need to make certain moves in your career, for example, but you don't want to rock the boat. And these are all ways that we stuff our power away so that we don't have to deal with the consequences. And either way, you are dealing with the consequences now, my friend. Whether you want to or not, disconnect is a consequence of those behaviors of hiding from the thing that you don't want to do, taking all that external energy and stuffing it inside of you and making everything perfect around you, and seeing it from this myopic view instead of getting an outside perspective, getting help, asking for what you need. And if disconnect is a consequence, so is freedom, if you choose it, by doing those 3 steps. And know that you're not alone and that you can develop the tools, the resources you need within yourself to feel more inspired, to feel more whole and alive again. And this is a daily practice. This is something that you have to do all the time, week to week, moment to moment. I know I work it. And it's a daily practice of opening up the blinds in your mind, and you start to get a peek. You start to get a peek into the great and wild unknown that is your soul. And it's a place where you can always come back to. A place that knows more than you can imagine, and it houses all your limitless potential. So when you are able to realize that the disconnect is your greatest teacher because it's allowing you to understand how to connect, you're going to feel so much better. And at the end of the day, we all just want to feel a little bit better. All right, so stay well, my friends. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this episode and have a good one. Bye now. So this episode was a little bit different than the usual podcast, maybe even a little longer, but I just wanted you to get a flavor for what's in store for you when you join the 4-month experience that's launching in July. What is launching in July, you're asking? It's the Intuitive Leadership Coaching Program. It's a 4-month group coaching program where we dive into spirituality, redefining achievement, earth, how do we reconnect with the groundedness and our bodies, and harmony, which is bringing it all together and realizing that all the pieces that you've kind of left along the way are now part of your toolbox. And we bring it all together so that you can take that yearning within for what's next and questions that you have in life and bring it to life. We're going to start off with a bonus one-on-one coaching session. We're going to get some really amazing Akashic record readings, which if you haven't heard about, I do them for you. And we'll meet twice a month to work through and uncover what's within so that you can lead with confidence. You can have this deep sense of meaning and true alignment with who you are. And this is what unleashes all of our internal power in all areas of our life. So check out the details at www.mayamsin.com/intuitive leadership. It's also linked below. And just so you know, 50% of the proceeds will go to the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. So we start soon. I wouldn't wait if I were you. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.